Hello, I'm so happy to see you, and I'm glad you came back. And I hope that I did not lose the very few of you that I did have on my channel. I needed to take a mental break, and I know I seem to say that often, but I try to incorporate self-care often because my energies tend to go down pretty low. Although they've taken my depression away, I still have that fear of it coming back. And I've been kind of busy also. This past weekend, all but one day, I had hypnosis, Friday and Saturday. And Sunday, I see my kids. When they're here, I try not to do these videos because I don't want anything to interfere with my visits with them. It sounds like I have minor children, but I don't. The two that come and see me are adults. But still, I don't want to interfere in that. I kind of wanted to share a little bit of a hypnosis I did, and I'm only going to share one tiny part, not even her name, but I did her Saturday. This is how it goes in order. You put them down in trance, and then you put a suggestion out there that they can go in any part of any lives at any time, meaning they can go to the present or past. And their higher self picks it because in that life is a lesson that they need to work out, like karma, and they need it for this life, because sometimes we tend to struggle as a human now in this present moment, and we're suffering and not being able to deal with it because we don't know what it is because it's in a past life. Well, she was in it for like 5 seconds, maybe maybe even that, and she had made the comment of, and I'm thinking it was pine tree. She was around pine trees. And my first thought was, that's what my last client said that Friday. And so I started asking her questions, and then all of a sudden, I heard her say she. And then she said her name. She's like, I'm going to say Reba. She said Reba is not believing that this is happening, and she feels like she needs to fall back in the vibrations more. I said, okay, well, let's allow Reba to do that. And I told her, she's safe and comfortable, and, she could relax, and I gave her a few moments, and then I started again. And then when she was kind of falling in her vibrations, I thought, did she just say or call her by name? Because I'm like, wait, that's third person. And then when we started talking again, she was saying her as referring to Reba, and then saying us, and then she. And I'm like, oh, wait. I said, who am I talking to? And then Reba personally said, I'm not sure. Because the client and the higher self can kind of like battle, because the client doesn't feel like, no, I can't be hypnotized, I'm in control kind of thing. The more I talked to her, the more the higher self came out. I thought, well, okay, I'll just sit here and ask all these questions. And she gave me permission to ask a couple for myself. So this went on 2 hours. So we're talking, and all of a sudden Reba sits up and says, and before that, I had asked a lot of questions. And you can't pause, because if you do, the client will fall asleep because they're in trance. They're comfortable enough to the point where if you're not keeping their mind active, they will go to sleep. We went through a lot already, quickly. And so she sits up and she rubs her eyes and she looks at me like, she's like, wow. She goes, I don't think I was in trance. And I'm like, I beg to differ. And then she flings back on the bed and continues. I'm just sitting here thinking, what just happened? What was that? Then she went right in to where we left off, and it got better and better. And then even her higher self was like, yeah, Reba is wanting to step up and start talking, and she's wanting to step in. And so I had to tell the higher self, let's just tell Reba to just relax, that everything is going to be okay, and she can just sit down and relax. And she tells her out loud, which is funny. She's like, just relax, Reba. Take it easy or whatever. I can't remember her exact words. And they're close to the end. The higher self was talking to me. And then I had asked her a question for myself. And she says, well, Reba wants to step forward and give you her advice on that. And she's all excited. I said, well, let's let Reba do that. And so Reba did. And then she's like, thank you, Reba, please. Thank you, Reba, please have a seat. And then I just cracked up laughing. When I pulled her, I didn't even pull her out of trance all the way, because you're supposed to count from 1 to 10. And you're like 1, 2, and then tell them what they're feeling throughout their body, because you got to put those suggestions in. And then 3, 4, and you say another sentence or 2, then 5, 6. Well, I didn't even get past 2, and she's already awake, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, are you all the way awake? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't even pull you up all the way. And she's just rubbing her eyes, and she's fine. Shortly after, she just kept saying that she didn't think she was in trance, and I kept telling her, yes, you were. There's specific signs that you look for, and I'm not going to mention them on here because it will ruin it for other hypnotists, because I will say that the fakers out there will tend to fake in fear of hurting the practitioner's feelings, in which you don't. Because if that's not working, there's other ways we could tell you to fix that situation. And if we sat here and told them before we put them in trance, well, there's this sign we look for and that sign we look for and all that, and then they're going to know to do that while they're faking it, because they feel like they're not doing it to be mean. They just have a fear of, I'm embarrassed, or I'm embarrassed for the practitioner, so I'm going to fake it. But I will say this. The higher self knows all answers. And if they cannot comment on it, they will outright say, we cannot comment on that at this time. They will never say, I don't know. Even when I ask their higher self a question for myself, they could still give you the answer, because they're all knowing. We're all a one. We're all a collective of one. And so they know. When a higher self says, I don't know, or I have no idea, that is not the higher self. So just so that you know. But the last woman, I just can't stop thinking about her sitting up in bed saying, I don't think I was in trance. And then she laid down, and I can't remember which order this went into. She either said it when she laid back down, or I think when she laid down, because I don't think she said it after we were done. She said that was so much information coming through her so fast that she felt overwhelmed. But then again, I will say that if you pause too long, the client will go to sleep, because they're already in a sleepy trance. So it's very easy. So with that being said, I've had a couple of visits, and one was similar. Well, no, not similar. I've had this one before where I told you in another video that a aroma that is, no, not aroma at all. There's no smell, but you can feel something going over your face and everything. But if you open your eyes, it burns. And it's like somebody's standing right there with mentholatum all up in your face, but you can't smell it. So it was a couple of those. The first one, that's all I remember, was just, I was asleep, and I want to say maybe my eyes were slit, because sometimes I sleep with my eyelids slit. And I either woke up and they were burning or something, but I remember probably just going back to sleep. And then last night, and I might have these days confused. Last night, I woke up to a enormous finger gently tapping me right here, really slow. And I'm like, I need to see if somebody is there. And here lately, they don't show themselves that often. And when I opened my eyes, they weren't there. But I told them, don't stop what you're doing. Just keep on going. And they did. And I remember I looked around. I didn't move my head around. I just moved my eyes around and didn't see anybody. So I closed my eyes, and that's all I remember. That's all I remember. I want to say I have little flashes of memory, and I'm not sure if it's that I feel we had communicated telepathically, because I have little flashes of what seems to be like a remembrance of like air bubbles going through my head again. And something tells me there's communication. And then it seems like more happened last night that I'm not remembering just yet. I've been thinking about it today, but I've been so busy at work that I didn't really have pause time so I could sit there and think. So I don't remember. And I've stated before, sometimes throughout the day, things will come out about the night before. I don't wake up with all it. I don't wake up with it all, bam, there it is. It very seldomly happens like that, very seldomly. And sometimes I can remember a little bit upon awakening, and then a little bit more later on during the day, and so on and so on. So I want to say more happened last night, but I just don't remember it. And maybe they have blocked that. I also want to say that my Friday's appointment to hypnotize another female, before we got involved, for some reason, the floodgates opened. I was channeling, and it was coming out. This girl is a starseed, and they had a lot of information. And I felt like my second client did Saturday, all this information was coming through. And I couldn't help but think, whoa, where's this coming from? I got chills right now. I know once I was trying to search for the words because I was getting pictures, symbols, intuition, thoughts, and words. So I was trying to describe to her what was going on. And I'm kind of staring down at the coffee table, and I was doing something. And when I looked down, everything stopped. And it was like my vision and everything just kind of went to a pinpoint, if that makes sense. And it wasn't like you could see peripheral or anything. And it was just straight ahead, nothing. And then I had no thoughts. There was no thoughts at all. And then it kind of scared me because I've never done that. And I pulled myself out, and I'm like, and I looked at her and I said, what in the world was that? And she goes, I don't know, but you kind of paused for a few seconds. Well, I asked her the other day, I said, how long did I pause like that? She said it was a few seconds. And then she said, I did it 2 or 3 times. And I remember that once. So part of me feels as though they are working on my channeling more, as in like Abraham Hicks kind of channeling or Cryon kind of channeling, because I feel like they were kind of taking over, and not in an exorcist kind of way, but kind of just how they do. They do a transfer. And I step back, just like in hypnosis. I step back, and then they come with all their wisdom. Something told me that that's what was going on. And then the second client Saturday, the one I was telling you about that sat up, same thing. And I couldn't get enough information out. It was insane. And I'm like, what's going on? But I didn't pause. I seemed to be more in tune, if that's the word that I should use. More of in control, I guess. I don't know. I did not want to overwhelm her as I did the first one with all this information. So I try to keep it short and sweet, because the other one, I couldn't stop talking. It was like flowing out of me like a river. And I didn't want to do that again, because I felt like the first woman, She had no warning. I had no warning. It just happened. And I felt like one of these people where you're trying to leave and you're taking a step or two toward the door, and that person that you're talking to keeps talking. You're like, okay, well, I'll talk to you soon. You take another step or two and they start talking again. That's what I felt like. So I think in future events that I do in hypnosis or meet anybody, I will tell them ahead of time. Be warned that I will probably channel like crazy, because for some reason it's why it's happening. I feel it's happening because these clients are coming to me to be hypnotized. These clients are starseeds. I'm a hybrid starseed, and I am probably awakening them. That's the only thing I could think of. And maybe that certain gifts are opened when I start channeling information. I can only assume at this point. And if that's what's going on, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. And I'm glad to have that gift. This is almost my longest video. If I'm talking loud, I'm sorry. I'm just excited about everything that I've just discussed. So I'm going to end this here, and I love you guys so much, and I'm going to edit this and upload it either tonight or tomorrow. So I hope you are doing well, and I love you, I loved you, I love you, and I have missed you for sure, and I still will try to continue daily. But just know for future reference, if I take a break, whether it be a day or 4, it's because I'm doing some self-care. You know, my life here lately has been crazy, getting crazy. I think that these starseeds are coming to me to be hypnotized, and it's crazy how many came forward. So with that being said, I will let you go. And I'm sending you love, light, and peace. Bye.